Again, I'm Andrea, and we are going to get started sitting. And this will be a 60-minute class. Blocks, strap, pillows, blankets are all welcome to help extend your practice, but not required. And I try and pop up here and trying to check in and make sure anybody has any comments or questions. They can drop them in the chat. All right, let's get going here. Go ahead and find that seated cross-legged position. However you're comfortable. I like sitting on a block personally. Just keep my block and strap off to the side. If you want, you can have a strap by you, and that might help you a little bit. Let me put a little more light on in here. There we go. It's a little dark here in California right now. The sun hasn't quite pushed through the clouds. Oh, all right. Let's get going here. Settling into our space. You can sit however you're comfortable. Begin to close your eyes. And as you're sitting, your palms can rest gently on your thighs. Palms down means you're getting grounded. Palms up is you're wanting energized and receiving energy to your body, to your mind, to your soul. Eyes are closed gently, just resting the eyes in the sockets. Letting go of your day or getting set to start the morning or continue your afternoon. I always like to do a little scan of the body to see where you're holding tension. So you can take note of those spaces in your body in hopes that we'll clear them out with breath and energy as we go through this next practice for the next hour. So start from the top of your head and start to notice on your face, your jaw, your eyes, your teeth. Are you clenching? Are you pursing your lips together? Are you scrunching through the eyes or the space between the eyebrows? We tend to hold tension. Release that now. Maybe you take a breath in and release and let go. All the small muscles in the face that we hold tension in, just begin to let them go. Moving down to the neck and the shoulders. Are your shoulders creeping up to the ears? Roll them down and back and let them relax. Let go. Coming down to the spine, we're sitting up nice and tall. The belly's pulled into the spine, yet we're feeling relaxed, releasing. For the next hour, you're here, you're now. So don't worry about what's gone on already in the past. There's nothing we can do for the future. So be here in the moment. Get present, get relaxed. Imagine your body opening and making space. Cruising down to the belly and the back and the hips. Notice if you're holding tension, let your hips open and release. All the way down the legs to the ankles, toes. Notice if you're flexing your toes, crunching your toes, curling them, let go and release. Notice your wrists and your fingers, your palms, if you're clenching, your fists, just let go. Anchoring into our breath. If you lose your space or your mind tracks off to somewhere else, the breath is the best thing to come back to and anchor in with. You can anchor to my voice, but it's not always there, so it's so important that we take note of our breath. Our breath is our safety space, day in, day out. Release all that breath and air out of your body right now. Release the stale, the old. Seal your lips. Begin to inhale through the nose. Feel the air coming in as you fill up your belly, fill up your chest. The lungs expand. Once you're all the way full, open the mouth. Release, let go. Let it all release and let go. Let's do it again with your lips sealed together. Begin to inhale through the nose. Fill yourself up. The lungs expand, the belly expands. Hold it at the top this time if you can. just for a moment, and release and let go. We're igniting the parasympathetic nervous system here, allowing the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight and flight and get you going. We want that to relax. It's going to help us release when we're stretching. You can leave your eyes closed here, or you can open them gently. We'll start by rolling out the neck. Bring your chin to your chest. Take your shoulders down your back. Don't allow them to creep up to the ears. Down and back, let release happen. Start to take your chin and drag it up to the right shoulder. Hold there for a moment. Come back to center, chin down, and draw it up to the left shoulder. Back down to center, then over to the right, just like you're drawing a line, like a smiley face, from one shoulder to the next, dragging the chin. Pulling your chin down only as deep as the cervical spine, your neck allows. Do this at your pace. Maybe a little slower as we're just getting started. We're slowly opening. Do one more to each side. And meet me with your chin to the center of your chest. Slowly begin to roll. Take your right ear to meet the right shoulder. Roll your head so it meets the back of the spine. Left ear, left shoulder. Chin to chest. Continue on rolling out the neck. We're getting open. The shoulders are dropping down. No tension here. Go around at your pace, maybe 2 more times this direction before we switch. Allow your space to be made. Allow for fluid to flow through the joints. And take a pause once your chin is back to your chest. We move to the other side. Left ear, left shoulder. Back of the head meets the spine. Right ear, right shoulder. Chin meets back to the chest. Continue in this direction. Again, the same pace, maybe a different pace, a little faster, a little slower. I want you to get in tune with your body. All the different spaces we're going to open, I want you to notice where you hold tension today. It may be different from yesterday. It may be different from tomorrow. So get in the present and see how your body's feeling. Connect. Bring your chin to meet back to your chest. Bring your head up, clasp your hands behind your back. Pull the arms down, bring your chin to your chest. Pull your chin down. Maybe you even lift your arms out and back behind you as you pull your chin down. Feel that nice stretch here. You'll feel a little shoulder stretch. I'm just showing you from the side. Chin is to the chest. Back of the neck open. Shoulders are opening. Maybe you go 1 inch higher. See how high you can go. This is an early shoulder stretch, so there's no reason to go too deep. But we are slowly beginning to open. Maybe another inch we reach. And exhale, release. Let your palms go. Good. We're going to do a little bit more with the shoulders. Take your hands, inhale your arms up overhead. You can have your palms meet if it's comfortable on the shoulders. Bring a little side body stretch. Exhale, right arm goes to your mat. You can have a block or a book here if you want, depending on how deep you can go. And start to just lean over. You're working on opening the left side of the ribs, letting the spine bend. If you want to go deeper, you can stay on your palm, or you can bring your forearm to the mat. I'm sitting on a block. I'm going to move that just so I can get a little deeper in my stretch now if you're sitting on something. So as you're starting to reach, maybe your gaze goes up. We don't want to be rolling forward. That's not going to get us anything. Make sure you're open. Your chest is facing forward. If you were to gaze up, you're going past the armpit. Again, you can come to your forearm. If you're coming down lower, make sure that the left hip is staying secure on your mat. We don't want to roll up. That's defeating the purpose. We're really reaching from the tips of the fingers all the way to that left hip joint. You're just drawing this big line of energy and opening. Really reach and stretch. Your gaze can be down or up or straight ahead. If you're down, slowly come up on your next inhale, arms meet overhead. Exhale, we move over, left palm comes down, begin to reach with the right arm. Again, take it slow. Make sure we're not rolling forward. Roll your shoulder open, chest is forward. Gaze can be up past the armpit. If you want to slowly begin to walk your hand out, maybe your forearm meets the mat. Right hip, right glute is staying on the mat. We're not rolling up like so. We're keeping it down. That's where you're going to make the opening. Beginning to stretch and release. We have the intercostal cartilage. That's the cartilage between your rib cage. It's that nice bendy cartilage we want to make space in so we can get nice deep breaths. Keep movement so we're not stagnant. On your next inhale, come back through center, palms up overhead. Exhale over to the right once more. Lean, see if you can go deeper this time. Really starting to open, keep the left hip and glute down. On your next inhale, come through center, getting a little movement with the flexibility. Exhale to the left. Reach the right arm over to your left. Maybe your gaze is up. Maybe if your forearm wasn't down, it is now. Maybe if you're on a block, your palm is off the block now. We're building. Inhale through center. One more on each side. Exhale to your right. Inhale through center. Exhale to the left. Just building a little bit of mobility in the spine and the side body. Inhale through center. Palms meet. Exhale to heart center. Bow your head for a moment. Make sure your shoulders haven't creeped up to the ears. Eyes are closed, take a couple breaths. Good, continuing to open the shoulders, bring your legs out in front of you. So your knees are bent, feet are in front. We're gonna move into penguin pose. So penguin pose is a little deep. I'm gonna start with single arm first, and then if you are flexible enough in your shoulders, you'll be able to move to double. So let's start with the right hand. You're gonna put it like you're doing a penguin arm. So the back of the palm is gonna go up underneath the armpit. And you may just stay here. If you want, you can use the other arm and pull it in. If not, just try and push the arm in. If you have the flexibility, bring your knee up and push your elbow into center on the inside of your right knee, and then push the right knee in. This hand can be back here for stability if you'd like. But just make sure that palm is on, the back of the palm is on the side of the rib cage or in the armpit, and then press. You're gonna really feel that all the way up through the delt and down through the back of the arm as the delt reaches all the way down. If you have shoulder problems, like I said, take it slow. You don't have to use the knee to push in, but try and keep yourself facing forward and really open that. Nice deep opening. Good, take one more breath here. Maybe you go a little deeper. Try not to twist the body. We want to twist to the front of the room, so that's where you're gonna feel it. And exhale, release. You can roll out the wrist. It's a good wrist stretch as well. And we'll get there too. Other side, left arm, take the back of the palm and flip it over inside. So again, you can stay here. You can pull with the opposite hand if you're just getting started. If you can, take the left knee, it's bent, and press on the outside of that shoulder. The outside of that bicep, I should say. Feel that delt stretch. You'll feel that nice little wrist stretch. Press, 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 feel it go all the way up. We're taking our time, we're breathing. A big thing we tend to do is move tension from one place to another when we're releasing. So notice if you're now clenching your face or your jaw because you're super tight in this area. Take one more breath. And exhale, release it out. Stretch your arms out, roll the wrists. Now, if you would like to try both, this is going to be a really deep stretch. Go ahead and do it like you're putting both palms underneath into the armpits. Bring the elbows in. And just try to squeeze the elbows into the midline. Now, if you really want the deep stretch, bring your knees to the outside and press the outside of the arms together. This is your full penguin deep pose. This is where you're really, really going to feel a double stretch on each side. Super deep. Again, take it to the level that you're at. Don't go too deep if your body's not feeling open yet. We'll continue to open the shoulders and the arms as we go. Good. Remember, don't clench your jaw, don't clench your face. Let go of all tension. Take a breath. And exhale, release your hands, roll out the wrists. Good. That's a deep one, that's a good one. It's a different part of the body. It's great if you're tight from working out, or if you sit at a desk, or if you've been lifting. Go ahead and come up to all fours. As you come to all fours, you can sit your hips back on your heels if you want. We're gonna do a little more with the wrists since we're starting to get them warmed up. So take your palms like you're facing high fives to me, roll them out and back. Fingers face back towards you. Hands are on your mat. Your thumbs are away from the midline. Pinkies are in toward one another. Now you can start forward. Make sure your palms are nice and wide like starfish. And the further you sink your hips back towards your heels, the more of a stretch you're gonna feel. You're gonna feel that through the front of the forearm. Make sure your palm is pressing down. You don't wanna be up right now. We wanna press down. Good, so as you're here, the further you sit back, just press your palms down to make sure you're getting the stretch you want. This is really, really good if you've got carpal tunnel. This is a great stretch. It's also really nice if you type, or all of us that are on our phones all day. We're texting with our thumbs. This is a great stretch. It really opens up. Good. Now I want you to slowly begin to lift that base of your palm up, the base of your, right where the wrist meets the palm. Start to lift that up and just start to feel your fingers. Where your fingers meet your palms, keep those long and flat as your palms begin to come up. Just getting a little finger stretch and maybe even a deeper wrist stretch. Only go as far as what feels good. You're slowly rolling up, really feeling that stretch. So good. And release out. Bring your hands up. Maybe you roll your wrists out for a second. We're going to go the opposite way. So take the bottoms of your hands, the backs of your palms are now going to be down. Your thumbs are touching in toward the midline. Pinkies are outside on the way, away from you. Now this one's going to be a lot more intense, usually for most people. So you can start here and slowly sit yourself back. And this time you're going to feel it on the other side of the forearm. Try and keep your hands nice and wide. Thumbs are in toward each other, palms face up, back of the hand is on the mat. Again, you could be sitting on your heels. These are really nice also if you're somebody that does handstands or a lot of arm balances in yoga. Good, you can even wiggle a little bit left to right and massage. We have all those carpal bones, the little tiny bones that make up the wrist. This is really nice on them, getting a little separation. Good, slowly come out of this one. You can sit back on your hips to your heels. Bring your hands together so the fronts of the wrists are together. And then slowly start to roll so the wrists stay meeting. Roll the hands in and just keep the wrists touching. Roll forward. And you're just letting them roll around each other, giving yourself a little massage, some nice pressure together. Now go the opposite way, roll them in towards you, or whichever way you haven't gone yet. Good. Little creaks, cracks, and pops might come out. Good, you can release and let go. Coming back to all fours, moving into a little cat-cow here. Take your palms, starfish hands, make sure your shoulders are over your wrists, over your elbows. Feet are on the tops, or you can tuck the toes. Find a nice neutral spine, pull your navel in, tuck your tailbone, gaze is down to start. On your inhale, drop the belly down, gaze goes up. This is cow pose. A lot of times we tend to take our shoulders and sink our neck down. Elongate the neck as you gaze up, shoulders roll down and back. Think of the shoulders pinching together like you're holding a pencil between them. Think of your tailbone pointing toward the earth, your belly drops down, but you're still pulling your navel into the spine. Feel a nice stretch to the back and the spine here. Exhale, opposition. Arch the spine. Tuck the tailbone in, chin to chest, press away from your mat. Dig your fingers in, dome up the hands slightly, taking pressure off the wrists. Really feel that opening in the spine. Bring your navel in, tuck it tight. Exhale, we'll do that again. Inhale, up, drop the belly down. Tailbone's pointing up, really push the belly down, roll the shoulders down and back. Feel the spine open. You might get a little crack and pop here. Exhale, press away, arch the spine, tuck the tailbone, chin to chest. Feel the opening you're making. You're getting some mobility in your spine. And release, come to a neutral spine. Let's tuck the toes. We'll do our nice little toe stretch. If you've taken my class before, this is a good one a lot of people like because we tend to forget about our feet. We're going to do toes and ankles here. As you tuck your toes under, sit your hips back. This might be where you stay. This is going to be a really intense posture on your toes. So if you've got any issues, if you got plantar fasciitis or anything like this, you can stay here. If you want more, sit up and put your weight onto your heels. Your knees are together. If that's too much and you want to stay up, you can put a block underneath your glutes here. Okay, that'll take pressure off. That's kind of the in between the two. Sitting here, we're going to feel that nice opening. And just take your arms out wide. Like you're giving a big hug, you're running towards someone. I'm just going to face towards you. Keep your toes tucked. And then start to back bend open. Gaze is up. Shoulders are rolling open. Chest is open. Good. Just make that big wingspan. Feel that opening. If you want to go a little further, you can bring your hands to heart center and start to back bend. Let your head fall back if it feels good on the neck. Getting flexibility in your spine. Inhale, if you're all the way back, come forward. We're going to release those toes for just a moment. Untuck the toes. Do it gently. Tap the tops of your feet. This is great for your circulation of your toes. Good. Once they feel good and ready, sit your hips back. Tops of the feet stay on the mat this time. And maybe you stay here to start to open the ankles. This is just flattening out the ankles, opening the space. If you want more, lean back. Put your hands behind you. For even more, raise your knees up. Feel that nice opening through the front of the shins, the front of the ankles. I just got a couple cracks and pops out, which felt great. If you want to find a little balance here, you can bring one hand, both hands, and continue to balance. Look ahead at something that's not moving. This is the full expression. Maybe arms are out in front of you. Always multiple layers. You can start in one and start to build up. Bring your hands back to start. Bring your knees down first. Press yourself forward and come back to all fours. Roll out the ankles after that nice stretch. That should feel really good. Tuck those toes back under. We're going again. Tuck your toes, hips go back. Maybe you can go a little deeper this time. All right, so maybe you stay here. Maybe you even bring your hands to your knees, or you sit all the way back. Or again, you can put the block underneath. That'll take some pressure off as well. Good. Continue to sit there on your hips to the heels. Doing the same thing. Give yourself a big good morning stretch. Open up the shoulders, open up the chest, and let your head fall back if it feels good on the spine. Open, open. You can cactus the arms here if you want more of a back bend. If you want a little more, you can take your hands to heart center and really lean back. And inhale, come forward, sit up tall first. Bring your hands in front of you if they're not already there. Untuck the toes. Same thing, tap the tops of the feet. Good. All right, we're gonna move on back, hips to heels. You can stay here. This is your first layer. If you want more, bring your hands back. If you want even more, lift your knees high. And if you'd like, you can balance here. Just a little added bonus, strengthening the body. Pull the core in tight. Concentrate. And when you're ready, hands down first. If they're up, then your knees. Press yourself forward. Come back to all fours. Good. Moving right along to our hips. We're going to do a couple hip openers. Starting with our frog legs. We're going to do one side, then the other, then both. So take your right knee, keep the weight there. This is where you could put a blanket. If you have knee problems, you're welcome to get a blanket for some cushion. Then take your left leg out to the side and start to press away. Kind of like you're doing a side split, and only go as far as you can. So you're letting your hips melt towards your mat. Your right foot, that inner arch can be down like a frog foot. Left leg is straight. And notice that my left leg is staying in alignment with my hip. Okay? You can spring yourself forward onto your forearms if you want, so you can get a little more depth. You could use a pillow here. You can just stay up. Only slide yourself out as open as you can, nothing with pressure to the hips. We want to open, we don't want pain though. Now when we start to get into our hips, these are our big joint spaces, our big muscles in the quads. You might work up a little bit of heat in your body from this. That's completely normal. You also get into emotions when you get into hips and shoulders. These are just big joint spaces that do a lot of work all day, so we hold a lot there. We also tend to clench our face and jaw when we're stretching these areas. Release your jaw, don't clench your teeth, and breathe. Take one more breath. Stay for your exhale. Take your time to slowly come in. Walk yourself up if you're on your forearms. Slowly slide that leg in. Tuck the toes to the right and bend it back in. Good. Give yourself a moment. Maybe you just let your hips go left to right. We are going to move into the other side. I'm going to show you from the front this time what it's going to look like. So we're going to take the right leg out to the side. So notice my hips are stacked, and then you're just going to start to slowly slide out. Now that back foot, the arch is down if you want. Flex your toes to protect the left knee. This foot can be flexed, it can be down flat if you can. It can be on the side. Again, you can have blankets underneath your knees to help. And if you want, come down to your forearms. Check in with yourself. We did a nice little check through when we started. We did a little scan of the body to see where we were holding tension. If your hips were one of those places, start to check in here. I want you to take breaths. Every time you inhale, you're bringing fresh oxygen into the bloodstream. It goes to your muscles, your joint spaces. It opens them, it makes space. So think of breathing. If you're really tight right now, take a deep breath in. Fill all the way up through the nose. Then open your mouth and exhale, let go. See if you can go deeper on your exhales. Find one more breath here. And then exhale, let go. When you're ready, come back up if you're down. Slowly slide yourself back in. Take your time. Gotta remember, if you go out, you gotta come back in. All right, moving into our full frog pose. So you're gonna do the same thing. The knees are gonna go wide now. Both knees stay bent this time. Flex your feet. The arch sides of your feet are down. Notice my hips are melting toward the mat. I'm not trying to hold them up. I'm just letting gravity pull. This is where you can put that pillow or blanket here. If you want to come all the way down, you can come here. Just make sure your knees and hips stay in alignment. You're making almost a 90-degree bend with your knee. We don't want to be way up here. That's not doing anything. Hips and knees stay in alignment. Some of you may be able to go all the way flat. That's great. Feel that nice opening. Some of you may be just slightly open. That's completely fine. You're working your way down. It took me a while to work to this. This is a very tight space for me. So I totally get that you just need to take your time. There's no rushing to get to a space you're going to. This is why we're here. Learning patience, flexibility, opening. Take another deep breath in. On your exhale, see if you can go a little deeper or let go of a little more tension somewhere. It's a great opener. Good, we're gonna slowly work our way up if our arms are down. And then slowly bring your feet together first. Sit your hips back, and then you can bring your knees slowly in. That's the way I find easiest to get out. Good. Go ahead and sit yourself back. Bring your legs out in front of you. We're gonna move into a little broken bridge pose. So broken bridge, take your feet to the width of your mat and let your knees fall in. That's gonna be a little opposite, and then just windshield wiper. Let one knee go in, then the other, back and forth. That should feel good. Maybe you hold one spot and then hold the other. You're just opening up and releasing. Good. All right, hips should be getting nice and open. Go ahead and bring yourself back forward. Come to all fours. Tuck your toes. Press your hips up. We're going to find ourselves in a down dog here. Now, anytime you come into a down dog, think of yourself when you come from all fours, your shoulders are over the wrists and the hips are over the knees. Your toes are tucked. As long as you just press up directly from where you are, press your hips high and then back, you're gonna have that nice down dog, that nice V shape. Your hands are shoulder width distance apart. The feet are hips width distance. And the backs of your legs might be super tight right now because we haven't really opened them yet. This is where we're gonna start to open. Pedal one heel as you bend one leg, straighten the other. Pedal the other one heel down, straighten, bend the other leg, back and forth. Now let go of your head and let it push back. Your chest is pressing back to your thighs. Let go of any tension in the neck, letting traction happen in the spine. Your biceps are framing your ears. And again, if you have any wrist problems, you can put blocks under your hands here if you wanted to. That'll take pressure off. Another thing that you do is try and dome your palms up and press your fingertips in. That takes pressure off the wrists. We tend to collapse in our wrists in down dog, which is exactly what you don't want to do. Put pressure between the thumb and the forefinger and kind of dig your fingertips in. Good. Moving right along. Take your right leg high. Doesn't have to be super high. Take an inhale, bring it up. Roll out your ankle. If you want, you can open it even more, bring it up, open the hip. On the exhale, step your right foot forward for a lunge. Your right foot's gonna be the outside of your right hands. And just notice you're like in a runner's lunge with your hands on the inside of your foot. As you're here, just kind of bounce and open the hips. Let gravity pull you down. Good. If you want a blanket, you can pull it out. We're going to drop our knee down. So if you want a blanket under your knee, that's the space for it. Untuck your toes. If you want to keep your toes tucked, that's fine. Sometimes it helps with the knee if you've got pressure. You can stay right here. Now notice we're not back here. Try and let gravity pull you forward. If you are back here, that's fine, but move your foot back towards you a little more then. And then slowly come down. But what we're thinking of here is gravity pulling down. Shoulders are down away from the ears. Your hips are just melting toward the mat. You're opening your front hip flexors. You should feel this to the front of the left leg and thigh, all the way up through the midline. If you want more, if you have a block or a pillow, you can put that here and bring your forearms to it. That's going to take you a couple inches deeper. Just make sure your hips are coming with you. If you can go all the way down, you can bring your forearms to your mat. You can bring your forehead down. Try and keep your right foot flat on the mat for now. We're going to open even more in a moment. Just remember to breathe. Now, if you want more, you can turn yourself toward the bent knee. So spin open to your right and press your right knee away. And just spin open through the midline. So you're going to spin toward the back, open up, just twisting. And now that right foot that's up is going to kind of go out to the knife edge side. So your foot's going to roll open. You're going to gaze up. As long as that feels okay. Make sure you're letting your hips sink. Press your knee away. The other option is if you're up on your hands, you can be up here and doing it. That's great too. Just see where you want to be. You're really opening your hips this morning, so let go. Good, bring your hands back down. Bring your foot back flat to the mat. Sit yourself back this time. Right leg's gonna stay straight. Flex your foot. Again, you can have blocks or pillows or books here. Straightening that front leg. Tuck your back toes. And make sure your leg is in alignment with the front of you. So you might want to move your right heel in a little bit. And your hips are squared off to one another. So pull your right hip back slightly, left hip forward. You can stay here, you can be up here, you can be with a block. Flex those feet. We're going to continue to open the back of the leg. Maybe you can walk your hands towards your foot. Maybe you can bring your torso down on top of your thigh. Maybe you can bring your nose to your knee or your shin. Flex your toes. Maybe you're reaching. And again, maybe you have a block on each side that you're just using to slowly melt down. Wherever you are, breathe. This is just a seated half split. So this is a good way if you're working on your splits to work on this. If you want to go into a full split or you want to work on your splits a little more, you can walk that foot a little further. Okay? But this is if you want to really go a little deeper, start to work yourself forward. Keep your right foot flexed. And if you want to continue to go, you're going to slowly melt down. And if you want to do a full split, untuck the back toes and let the hips melt. That is, of course, advanced in full depth. Some of you might be able to sit right into it, or it might be a little too deep for you. If you want to fold forward, you can. The other option is if you're coming to work on your splits and you're working halfway and you're about there but need some stability, you can always put a block or pillows here underneath the hip. That's going to really help work your way. Always when we're flexing that foot, that's protecting joints, knees, hips, all that good stuff. So if you're in a full split, start to come back up to your half split. Move any blocks or props out of the way. And then slowly work your foot back, tuck your back toes, press your hips high, and take your right foot to step back to the left, meet me in a down dog. On your next inhale, other side, left leg goes high. You can go a couple inches, you can go all the way open and open the hip for a second. Find your level. And on the exhale, left leg comes down. Stay here for just a minute while you get lined up. So notice my left knee is bent. Your hands are on the inside of that left foot. Once you feel stable, drop your back knee down. Again, toes can stay tucked or you can untuck the toes. You can melt your hips to the mat. We don't want to try and push ourselves back here. We want to try and melt forward best we can. You can have blocks on the inside or books to help give you a little more length. You can come down to your forearms, or you can come all the way down. So continue, and remember, let the hips melt. Don't hold ourselves up. Let gravity take its course. Staying here for a couple breaths. Continue breathing and releasing. So I see there's a couple questions. When we get back to down dog, I'll address the down dog question. For frog, or your hips definitely want to be, when we're in frog pose, you definitely want to be in alignment with your knees to your hips, which I can show you a little more after class, Amy, if you want to hang. All right, if you want to go that next layer here, this is where you can press your knee away as you twist towards your left. Now notice my foot's kind of coming up on the knife edge side. You're pressing your hip away. Your toes can be tucked or untucked. Let your hips hang heavy. Gaze up and twist open. Gaze to the sky. Think of those hips melting down. Again, you might be on your forearm here, or you might be up on your palm. If you were on your forearm, maybe you need to come up to your palm to go a little deeper. That's great too. Just listen to your body. Feel that nice twist. Feel that nice opener. Feeling on the outside of the left hip. Doing great. Go ahead and slowly come out of this. If you're down on your forearms, come up to your palms. Bring your foot back flat. Start to walk yourself up to start. And then just bring your left foot in centered a little more, so it's right in front of you. Flex your left foot. You can tuck the back toes or untuck, and then a half split. So make sure those toes are flexed, protecting the knee. Maybe you have a slight bend in the knee if you're working your way down. Or straighten and start to fold. Again, working on flexibility, you can have the knee bent to start, and slowly, breath by breath, get a little straighter. You might not straighten all the way, but a little at a time through each breath. You're opening up your hamstrings here. You're really feeling that nice opening. As your toes stay flexed, you're gonna get a deeper opening as well. That's gonna take it all the way up to those hamstrings. This is the point where if you are working on your splits, this is advanced, but go ahead and move into it. Just start to slowly move your heel forward. Nothing else moves but your heel. If you want, you can put a block underneath you and maybe work on it from there. Try and keep your hips square with one another. You might feel tighter or more open on this side. You can always work on your splits, even if you don't think they're in your practice. You might be surprised at where you can go. So always feel free. This is the time to try, right? Our hips are nice and open. Maybe you work all the way down. Keep that left foot flexed. That's going to give you that nice opener. If you want to fold forward, go for it. We're here for a couple breaths, whether you're in a half split up here or you're full split. Stay where you are and breathe. So if you're protecting your knee, if your weight's on it, that's where you want a blanket. Somebody asked if you're got some pressure on the knee, this is where you want to put a blanket under it and tuck the toes. Tucking the toes is going to help protect. So anytime you have any knee issues, like if we're sitting up on the knee like this, nice cushion underneath, towel, blanket, anything like that. And then the toes staying tucked. Now, some people might find it better to have the toes untucked because it puts a little more on the lower part of the knee, almost the shin. Depends on how it feels in your body and what part of your knee is giving you problems as well. Now, if you're in a half split or a full split, start to come up. Moving into our half split first. And then we've got our palms down. Tuck your back toes if they're not. Bring your knee through and push up to a down dog. Meet in down dog, however you want to get there. And then there's a question asked about down dog, where your head should be. Let your head hang heavy. Think of gravity pulling on your head. Your ears are by your biceps. Palms are nice and wide. Think of pressing your chest back. If you're super flexible, your head might be able to press back behind your biceps if you want another stretch. All right, go ahead and drop the knees down. We're going to do a nice shoulder opener. Untuck the toes. We're going to be on our belly for this. Have a block or a pillow nearby. You might want it for your neck. If you've done this pose with me before, this is Alligator, Crocodile Pose. You're going to be on your belly. Tops of your feet are on your mat. Come down. And we're going to start in Sphinx Pose for a moment. Sphinx Pose, we're going to have shoulders over the wrists. Palms are flat. Tops of the feet are here. And then just rest your palms and almost pull yourself forward like your chest is pulling through your arms. Keep everything on the mat. Good. Sphinx Pose is kind of a nice resting pose with a slight back bend. This isn't too deep. If you want to go a little deeper, you can come into Seal Pose if you want more of a back bend. Press yourself up. It's going to give you a little deeper. Tops of your feet are still on your mat. If you want even more, start to walk your hands back towards you. Keeping your hips on the mat. Just concentrating on opening the back. So Sphinx to Seal is a great stretch. If you want even more, bend your knees. Toes come together. Knees are wide. Gaze can go up. And slowly release down. Walk your hands back out. Come to your belly and tee your arms out. So tee my arms out, palms will meet on the floor. We're going to start with our right cheek on the mat. So make sure your hands are down, high-fiving the floor, palms down. And then make sure your shoulders and your wrists and your arms are all in one line, both sides. We're going to be starting on the right side. We're going to roll up towards your right. So right cheek is down to start. And then take your left hand and start to press away. Right palm still down. This is where you can put a block or a pillow underneath your neck to protect it. Your legs can stack on top of each other. If you can't go that far, bend your left knee to protect. But what we're concentrating on is that right shoulder. If you want to go further, completely bring that leg behind you and continue to push away. Your full-on expression is going to be all the way onto your back. Now that's super deep, but you can get there eventually. And if you've got rotator problems or other issues, just start with barely pushing yourself up. Make sure that right palm stays down. You don't want it to flip. Make sure you're staying high-fiving. So if you're pushing and your arm is flipping, you're going too far. Keep your hand down, keep in alignment with your shoulder. If you want to continue to go, you can lay on your back while that right arm is straight. So your cheek can be on a mat or the block or whatever works for you. For me, I need the block, it helps my neck. This other hand, maybe you take that left hand and try to reach for the back right one. Give yourself a double shoulder stretch, or you can just rest it on your side. Right leg's long, left knee can be bent if you're about halfway up. But stay here, stretching the shoulder. Once I do it on the other side, you might be able to see a little better. Just make sure that right arm is stretched out as you roll on toward your back. Good, take a couple more breaths here. Yeah, Jude's asking about putting weight on what part of the knee. So it just kind of depends. You don't want to go too far on your knee when you're putting weight because you don't want to push the kneecap down. So I like putting directly onto the kneecap, closer to the shin, so not too far forward, which I can show you if you have time after class. I can answer that a little more. All right, if you're on your right, we're going to start to roll ourselves back down. You can move that block for just a moment. Our arms are out to the T again. Good, so you're back to your belly, tops of your feet are on the mat. This time gaze over to your right, so your left cheek will be down. Make sure that your left palm is down and in alignment with your shoulder. I know I'm repetitive, but it's so important, and it's hard since I'm not with you. I just want to make sure you're protecting the shoulder and the joint. High five the mat. Now you're going to start to press yourself away. You can put that block or pillow underneath your cheek. And as you press away, notice my hand does not flip. My shoulder doesn't flip. Everything stays aligned as you come up on your left hip. Again, you might just come slightly up. Depends on the tightness you have in your shoulder, depends on injuries, your past, anything like that. Everybody's different. Now, if you can keep going, continue to roll open. Take it slow, see what works, and maybe you go onto your back. Maybe this right hand comes over and this is where you get the crocodile pose. You're letting your hands like a crocodile mouth. This should feel really nice on your rotator cuff, shoulder joint, just breathe. Again, let's take a little scan of our face and jaw. Are we clenching? Take 2 more breaths. Maybe you go a little deeper on your exhale, see how far you can go. All these flexibility classes, the more you take them, obviously, the quicker you'll build flexibility. But if you can remember these stretches, doing them for a little bit each day, just really helpful. These are longer holds because the flexibility, we're taking the time to build here. Let's slowly unroll all the way back to our belly. Coming back to a T, move your block out of the way if you've got one. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Get yourself nice and centered, and then slide your forearms back out to Sphinx pose. So forearms are down, elbows are underneath the shoulders. Gaze can be slightly down. Pulling yourself forward, tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. This again, you can stay here. If you want a deeper back bend and a shoulder opener, press yourself up, seal pose. If you want even more, walk your hands towards you, but don't let your hips come up off the mat. We're just kind of bending. It's like an up dog with your thighs on the mat if you do vinyasa flow. If you want even more, kick your heels up. You're gonna really feel the back bend there. Good, release your feet down. Bring your hands down. Then we're gonna slowly push up to all fours. You can get there however you want. Press yourself up and back. And then sit your hips back. Bring your legs out in front of you. We're gonna do a little bit more opening of the back of the legs. Options are gonna be given, lots of options on this one. A lot of people tend to be really tight in their hamstrings and their calves. So you might be working on trying to touch your toes here, let's say. So the options here are start with your knees bent, sit up tall. Main thing with flexibility, anytime we're stretching, is what we're doing with the spine. We want to reach towards the toes. If you can't touch your toes at all, grab your strap or belt. This is where you can wrap it around the bottoms of your feet. Keep your toes flexed. That's where your flexibility comes in. Grabbing for your toes. You can stay here or start to walk your feet out. As you're slowly walking out, don't arch, don't tuck your chin. Keep your chest pulling forward. Pull forward like your torso is resting on your thighs. Your chest goes first. Keep your head back. Slowly straighten and go as far as you can. Now, if you can't reach your toes, this is where you could also do the strap if you want your legs straight and don't want to start from a bend. Take your strap, pull yourself forward, and notice my spine. I'm not going like this to try and reach and strain the neck and back. That does nothing. We're working on the legs. Pull yourself forward. Now, if you're very super flexible, you can take your block or something that's going to give you more length and put it behind the feet and reach for behind the block, flexing the toes. Then pull your torso down. Once your torso meets, that's when you can rest your head. So lots of different options here. Feel the backs of the legs open. Toes staying flexed, just gonna really, really open that tightness in the backs of the legs. Don't forget your breath. Blood flowing with oxygen is so much better. So deep breaths are great in our flexibility blocks. Good, we're gonna slowly work our way back up. Take your knees and bend them. Maybe scoot your hips forward slightly. And we're gonna slowly roll down on the back. So keep your chin tucked in here and take your arms by your sides. You're gonna roll back one vertebrae at a time, letting your head be the last thing to come down. So think of pressing your back down and back. Roll, roll, roll gently, slowly, all the way. Hands by the side for a moment, head meets the mat. Tuck your chin in so the back of the head is flat along the spine and neck. Then bring both knees into your chest. Rock left to right. Give yourself that low back massage after some of the back bends you did. Good. Now take your legs straight up to the ceiling. You can wiggle out your ankles here. And take your right leg and just cross it over the left. Bring your arms out to a T or cactus your arms. Bend the knees with the right leg like you're just crossing them and let them fall over to the left. Now as you do that, keep your right shoulder down. You're gonna feel a nice supine twist opening in the low back. Your legs stay crossed. If you want, you could put a blocker pillow here, but what you're trying to do is keep the right shoulder down. So maybe your knees don't meet the mat, but you are getting a supine twist in the low back. If your knees don't come down, that's okay. We just want the shoulders down. Gaze is off to the right. Couple breaths here as you're settling down. Good, gaze goes back up to the sky. Take your time, slowly bring your legs back for center. Straighten the legs up to the sky. Arms are out to a T or cactus your arms. Left leg crosses over the right. Bend the right knee. Just like you're crossing your legs sitting, let them both fall over to your right this time. Notice my left shoulder stays down. Gaze off to your left. Supine twist. I love twists. Twistings are so nice for the internal organs. Very, very detoxifying. Lets go of all the sludge and goo in the body and lets everything release, putting pressure on different places in your organs. Find 2 more breaths. Once you're on that last breath, finish through on the exhale, come back up on your inhale. Uncross your legs, bring both knees back into the chest, keep your head on your mat to protect the spine. Find one happy baby, grab for the bottoms of the feet, your knees are bent like they're pressing toward the ceiling. If you can't reach your feet, grab your ankles or the backs of the thighs. Wherever you are, try and keep your tailbone rolling down, keep the back flat. We don't want to be up in the air like this. We want that tailbone rolling down. You can rock left to right, getting one last massage. Massaging after you did those supine twists. Bring your knees back together, hug them in. This time, bring your chin up to your chest. Try and get your knees and foreheads almost touching. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Big inhale. And exhale yourself out to Shavasana. Shavasana pose, you're welcome to put anything under your knees if you'd like support for your low back. Or anything under your neck, maybe a rolled up blanket. Arms are by your sides, palms face up. Feet are falling out naturally to the sides. Notice your fingers start to curl gently and naturally as your body begins to release from practice. Take note of your face if you're clenching any muscles. Let your tongue relax in your mouth so it's not pressing. Eyes rest in their sockets. Stay for this pose. It's your most important pose in flexibility. It's where your muscles retain everything you did. New memories and the muscles are made. I'll bring you back in a few minutes. Just stay here breathing. Take note of how your body feels. If you're feeling ready, you can start to bring movement into the body by wiggling the fingers, rolling out the ankles. Maybe you clench your fist to make little fists in and out. Flex and point your toes. Massage the back of your head to the mat. Begin to lift your arms over your head for a good morning stretch. Stretching your hands back and your toes towards the front of the room. Pulling your body apart in opposition. Take a nice deep breath. Get one more big exhale. Let go of anything else that doesn't serve you. Tightness, tension. When you're ready, roll onto your favorite side, left or right, and put yourself in a seated position. Palms pressed together. Head can be bowed. Finding gratitude for showing up today. Find gratitude in your body, and your mind and the connection you made. Find gratitude for one another showing up from across the world to share energy in one big space together. Bring your thumbs up to third eye center, a space of intuition, a space of open-mindedness. Open-minded to one another, open-minded to ourselves. Bowing forward. Namaste.